Hi there, Pastor Scott here, and welcome to this week's Sunday preview for May 17th. This Sunday, we're transitioning from pre-recorded worship to live Zoom worship. While our pre-recorded worship has been well received these past several weeks, one key downside is that the medium lacks relationality. That's where Zoom worship comes in. As we've been doing during the previous weeks, our worship this Sunday will be a full-featured worship service involving a call to worship, live music, sermon, pastoral prayer. You get the picture. Well, let me tell you about the message we're going to hear this week. Mary Figueredo is going to be preaching to us about the passage Philippians 4, verses 4 through 9. Maybe you recall the memorable opening verse of the passage. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice. Reflecting on this passage, Mary's going to help us think about how we can expand our related definitions of both failure and success by thinking about the Apollo 13 space mission and how, although it was technically deemed a failure because the astronauts never actually landed on the moon, it was also considered a success in that despite the impossible odds, the astronauts made it back home. As a result, the mission was ultimately deemed a successful failure. Mary will then connect for us her reflections on Philippians 4 and the Apollo 13 mission and tie all of that back to our pandemic and how reframing our perspective can help us approach our present circumstances with more hope and renewed energy. I think that you and your family are really going to be blessed by the word Mary is going to share with us this week. Then after worship, we'll have a time of guided group conversation led by Mary that will help tie everything back into the sermon. I think that everyone is going to enjoy having the opportunity to both see and hear others during this post-worship conversation. The Zoom connection information for this Sunday was sent out yesterday in our e-news and will also be sent out every Sunday morning, early in the morning, before worship begins, along with a link to the bulletin. As live worship begins at 10 a.m., if you can't join us for worship, then please look for another email later on Sunday afternoon with a link to watch the recorded worship service. Have a great rest of your Friday, and God's blessings to you and your family.